Are you still there?
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Mr. Klein.
What up? What up?
How you doing?
You're looking burly today, man. I'm great.
Returning. Oh man, I'm doing great. Just returning a bunch of stuff to Home Depot today from the personal house remodel, and Home Depot is one of my least favorite places on earth because I never can get in and out in a reasonable manner. But we did good today. A couple $1,000s worth of refunds. I only brought about 6 or 7 things that don't belong to Home Depot. So I'm actually getting some garage space back today.
There you go.
So congratulations. I love technology. You got to go to Home Depot with me today.
That's cool, man.
But now I'm done. How's the apartment deal going?
Oh yeah, it's going good, man. Still plowing forward, and I'm buying a lot of single family homes too. A lot of subject twos, and that's going well as well. Looks like you froze, man. Oh, there you go.
Cool. Let's see if anybody else is trying to get in. You have to hit admit.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, because sometimes people show up, sometimes people don't, sometimes people forward calendar invites.
Gotcha.
We don't want unwelcome company,
Yeah, sometimes I get those, hey, so-and-so has requested membership to, I don't know, one of those clubs. I don't even remember which one, barbecue maybe or something. And they're like, guys that have been on Facebook for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And
they're trying, they're trying to sell something.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't let them in. I just decline them.
That's kind of the way I do it too.
Yeah, they're just trying to.
What a crazy week last week. This, I'm really wishing I hadn't bought that San Antonio property now, but what are you gonna do?
You're in it,
wife.
bro.
Yeah, I know, right? So now today I had to go meet with my property manager.
Oh yeah.
And discuss a six-figure.
A six-figure what?
Six-figure issue.
Oh crap! On the house? Like a repair or what?
Yeah, they've been kind of doing the make ready for us as we buy these new houses.
Yeah.
And it's hit or miss. One house comes in like a little below budget, one comes in a little above budget, and then one came in at double budget. And
wow.
Once that happens, you don't really have much recourse. You don't really have, there's just not a lot you can do. So, I mean, it's short of telling the person that you think they're committing fraud or being insulting and telling them that it's mismanagement. Yeah, I mean, not much you can do. So
politics, brother.
I know. So I had to, and when you're having those kind of difficult conversations, so much is lost in email and text, and so I just said, look, let me come sit down and talk to you, and let's figure this out. So that's what I did.
You spoke really highly of. I mean, I know who you're dealing with. We have a relationship with him as well, not an ongoing one, but we're a past relationship. You spoke really highly of him, that he was doing a great job for you, and you were so really, really pleased with how that was going on. I've never had luck with third-party management companies, to be honest with you, though. Did I lose you? I don't know where you went, Tim, but I'm still here, buddy. There you are.
I lost you when you said you never really have had any luck.
I've never had any luck with third-party management companies, man. Personally.
You know, I think we're going to transition the portfolio to Renter's Warehouse, and just because they'll do a flat rate of like $80 a month or whatever, and they'll handle your kind of the accounting and collections and all that.
Yeah.
And I just think that that's probably going to be the best solution right now. And then we'll handle all the repair requests since we know these properties so well.
Right.
I think it'll help us keep our guys busy and, just also just stay on since we have these nicer houses now, there really shouldn't be a whole lot of repair requests, but
right.
We'll see. We'll see.
Man, those little $100, $150 repair requests, man, those just drive me nuts. Month in, month out. And I just tell them, like what's that, a loss run report for an insurance company? I've been training my girl. I'm like, listen, it's like a loss run report for an insurance company. If I'm paying for all this crap, the rent renewal comes up, I'm going to make money. I mean, period. So, if they want me to fix the disposal that they broke, that wasn't broke when they move in, they're going to pay for it, at the renewal time. So just let them, know, hey, when they call and say, hey, the disposal's broke, just say, well, was it broke when you moved in? Well, no. Great. Let me know when it's fixed.
Yeah.
The hell.
Or, I'll spend that $100, but, $20 a month times 12 months is about what that sounds like to me.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We'll finance it for you.
Yep. Yeah, I've done that too. That's funny. Well, so, hey, what's the purpose of, are other people going to join, or what's the purpose of the, I know it's a meetup, but.
Everybody else got the same invitation you did. I don't. I would imagine they were otherwise predisposed.
Got it.
Because originally I wanted to do it like the last Wednesday of the month, but of course, the first time I tried to do that, the last Wednesday of the month is New Year's Eve. I'm sorry, New Year's Day. And,
right.
The next to last Wednesday of the month was Christmas Day, so I went ahead and just bumped it up. I don't know, man. You weren't on. Sean was on last month. It's normally just a round table. People just talk about what all they got going on and kind of brings up the right topics of conversation. I'm struggling with management right now. I've got to, I told them at the meeting an hour and a half ago. So, I'm gonna have to take this thing back, and we'll try to have a clean break. They never are, but do the best you can,
Right. Yeah, we even had I've had a couple people manage my stuff. What's that guy up in Denton, heavyset guy, does a lot of tax sale stuff?
Talking about Arnie?
Arnie, yeah, Arnie Abramson. I mean, he's even managed some stuff of mine before, and like I said, I just never had luck with third party, man. It's just it's a tough gig. Nobody's going to manage it as well as you are.
Well, and that's what I told Jen. I said, if we just use Renter's Warehouse to collect the rents, process the rents, and intake the repair request,
yeah,
you figure it $80 a month per property. If we hand them 20 houses, that's $1,600 a month. Could you hire someone to do that job for $1,600 a month? Probably. You could probably outsource it, but then you got to manage that person. And if they're sick, then you're left screwed. So I think it feels like the right decision to make. And then we'll take over all the leasing, and Jen will do that. But we've been kicking that around anyway, just, because you try to make these houses nice. You kind of want to make sure that whoever gets in there is nice too,
yeah.
So, a little bit of that. And then by controlling the repair request, like you said, then you know off the top of your head, you know, who's been naughty and who's been nice, and do they get an eviction for Christmas?
Well, not necessarily an eviction, but just a termination of lease. Like, when, hey, we're not going to renew. I mean, I had a girl that she was paying on like the 12th, 14th of every month. And I just said, hey, if you're going to stay there, here's the new lease amount. It was like $150 more or $100 more. So I figure, you know, if I'm going to have to chase the girl around, you know, I'm going to get paid. Of course, she didn't renew the lease. She didn't want to go with that. So I just said, well, you got a couple days to get out, and we'll just go on to the next person.
Right.
So I mean, I just had a guy pay 10 months rent in advance yesterday.
What for?
Huh?
Why?
Because that's the way he wanted to do it. And I said, man, that's great. I'll take it. So I don't even have to think it. I don't even have to think about that property.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
That's the truth.
Or not for a while anyway.
But so now I got to go to San Antonio tomorrow to work on that Airbnb. That's just, you know, can't unbuy it. I tried to talk Jen into selling it, but she doesn't want to sell it. She thinks it's a really awesome piece of property. So, I mean, it is.
Happy wife, happy life, brother.
I got dropped in the grease on a wholesale transaction Friday. That's just one of those, you know, you're expecting 20 grand and you got to shill out a lot more than that. And then today Jennifer's like, hey, aren't you going to pay us some money? And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, we own this other house now. I hadn't even told her we owned it. Said I'll pay us some money next week. Well, I mean, you know, it works out though. We'll probably make twice as much on the deal, and just clean it out, put it on MLS. I think it should pop. So
you think it's what?
I think it'll pop. You know, we're gonna put it out at like 145. We bought it for 105. Because it's a little 311 in 75218. It's not actually Lake Highlands. It's you probably know where Gaston Park is. So it's in Gaston Park. It's a nice little neighborhood. And, you know, you just can't get a house in Dallas for less than 150. So that's kind of the ideology is go put it out there at 145.
Gaston Park, is that like Jupiter and Northwest Highway area?
Yep.
Jupiter and Garland.
Yep.
Yeah, I've got two side by side over on Strand.
Oh, this is on Strand.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, 11626.
Huh?
11626.
Ours are 11206 and 11210, I think. They're side by side.
Cool.
Right next to each other.
Are those owner fives or refis?
No, we did a private money purchase on them, and then we've just got them leased. We're getting
What'd you get on them?
1250 over there.
That ain't bad.
Man, I bought them for I think I bought them for 97 a piece. And they didn't need any work. They were pretty much rent ready. So that worked out well.
What are you getting on the rent?
$12.50, I think, on one, and maybe $12.95 on the other, but somewhere in that ballpark, $12.50, somewhere like that.
You know, on this one, it's a 311, so it doesn't really fit what I want to do with rentals. But
yeah,
I was thinking about just owner financing it, carrying the note for a couple months.
Well,
selling the note, but I hadn't decided.
You know, that's
yet.
Literally, I live at Northwest. I live like really a block from there. So my daughter's doing some owner finance marketing. If you decide to owner finance market it, let me know. I will throw out some bandit signs and get cracking on that. She's getting pretty good. But you know what, man? Why wouldn't you lease that, dude? I haven't had any issues with leasing with my tenants, and I leased it. I leased one of those properties before I even bought it, and the same tenants have been in there the whole time. Super easy to rent, and I haven't had any problems over there. Just because where can you find a property to lease it? $1,200 a month.
I don't know what happened. It kicked me out.
I don't know. You went fast forward or something. I don't know. It was weird. Anyway, what I was telling you is that that house, that neighborhood is 1 block from where I live. And my I'm training my daughter on how to sell houses owner finance. So if you decide to owner finance it, hit me up and I'll have her throw out some bandit signs and find a buyer for you quickly. The other thing about that neighborhood is man, I had one of those houses leased before I even bought it, and I've got the original tenants in there. At least those things leased within like a week, and very, very minimal issues I've had with those properties. So it's a good rental neighborhood. People are happy to be there, and they'll pay. Like I said, I think mine's a 3-1. I might have a garage on that one. Might be a 311, and then the other one's a 2-2 garage conversion.
Okay.
I've got the same tenants in both houses from when I bought it.
Yeah, we on the same day we closed on a new rental out here in Rockwall. And man, we've added so many to the portfolio recently. It's just kind of like, so I'm on
Owner finances lately where I just season them up for like 90 days and then sell off the note, and the transactions always work out pretty well.
Yeah.
But so I don't know. I'm just thinking I'm just going to put it on MLS and sell it as is.
Well, somebody will snap them up.
Too much on my plate, and I don't want to be handling anything in Christmas. I mean, I want to be done with this crap.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
I just hate managing rehabs. It's just, it's just so draining. Well, anyway, enough about me. What are you up to?
Oh man, just I'm headed to Mexico on Saturday. So I'm trying to finish up some stuff on this multifamily deal and a couple of single family deals. I'm like you, I don't want to be doing anything over the holidays because I got too much else going on with family. So I don't want to be managing a bunch of crap around the holidays. So I'm just trying to clean up what I've got going on so I can bounce out of town. And then I'm going to Cancun on the 17th of January. So I got myself a little bit too busy traveling.
Yeah, that's the struggle, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, when we talk about our problems, aren't most people really sympathetic with us?
No, not yeah. I read some of the new stuff about people struggling with this and struggling with that, and I'm just thinking, I just can't even identify with that. It lets me know how big of a bubble I'm living in.
Well, it's like yesterday, my son was in a bad mood because he was tired, and I kind of had to laugh at him at dinner. I said, okay, look, man, I know you had a rough day. You get the food from Uber Eats, and then you went to a private workout with a boxing instructor, and now you're eating another nice dinner. But if you don't change your attitude, you'll be getting up to go to work tomorrow morning. And I'm trying to give him a little bit of time off. He just finished finals. I'm just trying to let him decompress a little. First semester of college is tough, but
Sure.
It's like I can only tolerate a sour puss attitude for so long, you know, because we're blessed. Like you said, I mean, we're so blessed. It's like, you know, fuck it up, buddy. At least be nice.
Right. Well, just gratitude. I mean, you know, just I would tell you the next time he does that, tell him to go to his room and write like the top 5 things that he's grateful for, because you can't be in a crappy mood if you're in a place of gratefulness. So that's a good way to just, you know, nip that in the bud, because then he'll start focusing on the things that are, you know, really positive that he's grateful for, instead of focusing on, you know, whatever he thinks is a problem, which, you know, between you and me is not a problem.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I saw you put a owner finance deal. Was it owner finance in Bedford or Hearst?
Yeah. Yeah. So I've got a bunch of bird dogs bringing me deals and agents, and I've got one. I just sold one in Garland, but I got another one off of Glenbrook. I've got one in Bedford. I got one in Irving, one in Arlington. Actually, I got another one in Garland. Yeah, I got about, I don't know, half a dozen of them going.
Are those new or are they recycling?
No, they're new. Yeah, I mean, I haven't filed a foreclosure in probably been 2 or 3 years, man.
That's nice.
Well, I might have filed one, but I haven't actually foreclosed.
Right.
Yeah, it's been a minute. So, yeah, people are, man, my portfolio is performing. I do have a young girl out in DeSoto in one of my rentals. She's 21. She ended up being a friend of my oldest daughter. And if I'd have known that, I probably wouldn't have approved her just because of that. Anyway, she had a domestic issue. I've got to get her out. She owes me like $1,800, and it's like on the 15th. She's like, "Well, I got $800." And I'm like, "Girl, you better keep that to move with."
Well, that's funny you say that, because I bought that one in Rockwall, and immediately my niece and my brother-in-law has my niece call me to tell me that, you know, she's interested in it. My mom calls me to tell me she's interested in it. I'm like, oh, you know, it's already leased. I mean,
exactly.
I mean, it's not, but, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
it
done
is as far as they're concerned.
That's right. Well, and my niece even, like, my brother-in-law wants to move her out of the house because she has 2 large Labradors that tear up his house.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, man, why the hell would I want to do that? I mean,
right.
It just seems ridiculous, you know?
Correct.
But
yeah. Hey, man, they're just ditching. They're passing you their monkeys.
Passing the monkeys.
Passing the monkeys. I'm not into that. So,
how long you gonna be out of town?
I'll probably just a week. I mean, I really don't want to go. I'm just going because I built my mother-in-law a big chimney where, you know, they cook with wood on the ranch, and so we built a big. Every time I go there, the chimney, or I guess they cook in the open, like where we eat. Well, I'm suffocated with smoke. Like, how the hell am I supposed to eat when I'm like, you know, huffing like half a log of half a cedar log? So we built her a big old chimney, and so she's all excited. Hey, come look at the chimney you guys, you know, bought me and or had built for me, and la la la. And so she got me on the phone and basically said, "Hey, you're coming," and I'm like, "Fine."
You drive down or fly down?
And I'm gonna drive. And that's why I don't want to go, man. It's dangerous. It's long. I mean, I've been there and done it. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm getting too spoiled, man. You know, with all this flying. I mean, I've done more traveling this last year than I have in probably the first 19 years of my marriage. So I'm just.
How often will you guys have to go down to Florida?
I've only been once. So I'm having a little bit of a challenge with that one right now. You know, we have some projections for what those boat slips are supposed to do, and we got some word today that those boat slips aren't going to do quite what we thought they were going to do as far as revenue. So right. I don't know, man. It's just one of those, like, it's touch and go, to be honest with you. And we've got some badass financing in place, like four and a quarter.
Yeah.
On a 25-year AM with a 5-year like review or whatever. No prepayment penalty if we refinance, if we do a cash out refi with that same bank. But if you do the boat slip, each boat slip's coming in like $600 short. You multiply that by 8 and then by 12 and then divide it by the cap rate. I mean, you're talking like 1.25 million.
Right.
It's a big freaking deal. So that's kind of what I'm working through before I got on this call. That's what I was working through is what the hell am I going to do, you know, with these boat slips if, you know, we thought market value was $1,250 and market value is $750.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, do you know Jorge Abreu?
Yeah.
Georgia Brew?
Yeah.
What the hell is that guy doing, man? He guy's tearing it up.
I don't know. He is on social media for sure.
Yeah.
You know, every time I looked at that multifamily syndication, it just, I don't know, it just seemed like a lot of work for a small piece of the pie if you weren't the lead syndicator, you know?
Right.
And even if you were, you know, you're putting 10% of your money in, and that means you're only getting, you know, 10% and probably plus a little bit of an override. But, you know, it's like, I don't know. I lean towards, I even decided not to, I was going to make a run at buying Arcana, but I just decided not to because
What's
it's
Arcana?
it's the insurance company we do all of our insurance through.
Oh, yeah. You're putting that together. I thought a $10 million deal. You decided against that?
Yeah. Just when I started looking at how much work was going to be required, you know, I mean, and you got all these investors and people putting money in, and I'd rather just make, this sounds so elitist, right? But, you know, I'd rather just make 40, 50 grand a month and live an easier life than try to make 100 grand a month and be constantly stressed and on the go.
Yeah. Well, that's about the decision that I'm at. Here's my challenge. I really, really enjoy working with Sean. And yeah, I mean, we've been partnered forever. So he's like, I mean, he's almost like the brother I never had growing up. So he's super like, I don't know. He wants to really do that apartment thing, but I don't know, man, just personally, I just feel like maybe I'm just in a different place because I'm like you, man. I'd rather make, you know, whatever I make in single family. I mean, hell, I just added like $1,000 in passive income in the last like 2 weeks.
Right.
And I'm not working. I'm probably not even working as hard as you are.
Right.
I mean, so it's like not real difficult stuff that I'm up to, but I just enjoy the lifestyle. And then, you know, to be accountable to all these, like you're talking about, be accountable to all these people in the syndication. The numbers are a little bit better than what you think they are or what you described, but still you got to go to work. I got to manage somebody from fucking here from Florida, you know, maybe go to Florida, man. I don't want to be, so anyway,
well, I mean, you have a hurricane and I mean, yeah, you got insurance and everything, but you still got to deal with
it's a
the
disruption to
management.
my lifestyle.
Right. Well, and it's the conversation I had with a friend of mine. He sold his plumbing company for 38 million bucks, and
Wow.
he's still working. And you know, it's like I said, you know, how much, you know,
Wow.
what's enough? You know, when's enough? You know, and if that number that's enough keeps moving, you know, you kind of we as men have to kind of analyze why is that number moving? You know, like, is it because of our ego? Is it because of our needs? Does it really serve that purpose that we say that we started out trying to serve? You know, I mean, like, I know you're big into the church and humanitarian and charity stuff, you know. I mean, I guess if it's serving that overall purpose, then yeah, sure, it makes sense. But if it's just serving the purpose to get more money and taking you away from the things that you really care about, I think, you know, I mean, yeah, if you got to do it, you got to do it. But if you don't got to do it, I mean, why do it?
Well, you're going to end up in the same place at the end of the day because the more money you get, the higher the lifestyle that you basically achieve. And then at the end of the day, I mean, you're still struggling with the same stuff, monthly bills or whatever, because your overhead is so much higher because your income, you just increase your lifestyle based on your income. I mean, why isn't that guy like hard money lending, or I don't know, hell, buying apartments? I mean, what's he doing it for work? He's plumbing?
Well, he's Jimmy Dale, the CEO of Baker Brothers.
Yeah.
You see him all over the TV.
Yeah.
He as part of the sale, he had to reinvest in the parent company, and now he's on the board, and now he's traveling for the board, and they got plumbing companies in other cities, and he still has to run the Dallas operation, and it's
for
like
how long?
Like 5 years. But even then, there's no clear there's no clear path out unless the whole thing gets sold. And if the whole thing gets sold, well then, it's probably going to require more work, and that was kind of my thing with Arcana. I thought in 3 to 5 years, I could really multiply that money times a lot, but I don't know, just buy a couple more rentals here and there and flip a couple more houses and eat barbecue.
So what do you, I mean, are you still marketing? I think last time I talked to you, you were doing like postcards, and you said that your return was dwindling. And I mean, are you still doing that? I see you're working with Shelby and her dad and all that stuff.
Yeah. So in October, I completely threw out my old list and I went with the new list. And the new list is very much just a kind of a hyper focused, much smaller. So, we're sending out about 4,000 postcards a week. The return's pretty good. Right now we're inking about a house a week. And our average assignment is over 15,000. And so by the time you pay all the marketing and, the personnel costs of Shelby and Randy, I'm left with a decent amount of money that they're kind of doing everything for me. That's a nice way to be. And so
their benefit is you're paying for the marketing. Your benefit is they're doing all the work. Is that kind of how that? Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's really like it's definitely not being an investor, because I do still have to do some work on it. It's more like being a business owner. If you do the Robert Kiyosaki quadrant, it's definitely not being self-employed, because it doesn't require my daily effort or attention. But it's definitely more like being a business owner than self-employed. And it sources new rental inventory that, when the right one comes up, you take it down. So it's kind of feeding the larger purpose, but also providing ordinary income that we leave on.
Well, I'm doing the same thing, except just a little bit differently. I'm buying everything I'm doing is subject to, because I'm still not set up with financing personally. I tried to do a HELOC. My house is free and clear. I tried to do a HELOC. They told me I didn't make any money. I said, no, I don't pay any taxes. There's a difference. There's a difference. So I showed them like multi-millions of dollars worth of, real assets, and you don't make enough money. And I'm like, oh, holy shit. So anyway, I've got people that just bring me deals. I mean, I'm not paying for any marketing. I just teach them, hey, what to do and how to go do it. And then, they bring me the deal, and hell, I don't even close on it until I find a buyer. Once I find a buyer, then I close on it. Then I close on it with the new buyer. But my challenge is cash. So I don't have large amounts of cash, because I'm not doing any assignments. Almost everything I'm doing is subject to, and they're all holds. So a lot of them have defaults. A lot of them have, commissions or issues, whatever, that take out that cash now profit center. But the cash flow is great. I mean, the last one I just did one out in Forney, and it was $800 a month in cash flow.
Right.
So it's just like, holy cow, how do you shake a fist at that?
You don't.
Right. So that's what I need to work on here as far as the single family is just if I can get a HELOC put on the house. I mean, the house is probably, I don't know, $500,000-$600,000, somewhere in that ballpark. Take it down with cash, I guess, season it for 2 or 3 months and then, do a refi on it or however all that crap looks, then I could probably do a whole bunch more rentals. I'm still not set up for that at the moment.
Right.
I got to go do some more work. Who would you go to for a HELOC? I'm not paying income taxes because I do a really good job of what do you call it? Expenses, deductions, whatever you want to call it. Who would you go to for a HELOC if your tax report looked like that or your tax return looked like that?
I don't know who's doing HELOCs right now for self-employed or business owners. I mean, almost everybody I see wants the W-2 income.
Right.
But, on these houses, you're so creative with the financing. You can do the refi on the house with that RCN company that I use.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have to show any personal income. It's just the business income and the property income. And they go up to 75%. So, if you could lock something up on a sub-2, as long as your underlying debt's less than that 75%, get it rehabbed and rented, you can just refi those things out and you can pull cash out 90 days later.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's what we're trying to do now is get a little bit more creative on the upfront structuring to where, like this Rockwall house, we bought it for $150. It's worth $240.
Wow.
It only needs about 15 or 20 in work for a rental. It would need 30, to go retail.
Sure.
But we put a loan against it from a trust that we manage with some private money in it for $170 because that's where I know I can refi at, right? So we close with $150, we go put 20 into it. We ought to get, we ought to only end up with 5 or 10 grand left in that deal and still have a decent equity spread and, some good positive cash flow.
Right.
And the thing I like about that the most right now is just, for too long I had all those owner finances and, it's a dwindling balance sheet. It's good cash flow. It's great cash flow. But it's just, you're kind of committing yourself at our age. You're going to be 70 and not have any assets. And
yeah. I'm doing the both. I'm looking at man, my cash flow is sometimes double and a half when I owner finance versus rent. So I'm kind of like, I think what you're doing is just, I'm looking at each asset individually as what's the best way to go. If I had another one on Strand, I would totally lease it. I wouldn't owner finance those because it's worth more to me long-term, like forever money than to get somebody in there. Hell, when I first bought it, it was 97. I think I paid 97 a piece for those, and then they were worth 125 at the time. Well, hell, that number's gone up to like 160, I believe.
Oh yeah, we've got. I think that one on Strand would appraise for 170, 175.
Right. So, but 170, 175. That's still not a real high number for a Hispanic buyer to come in, put a down payment on it, and pay it off in 5 years.
Right.
And I'm seeing that. I'm seeing some of that. So that's the challenge. So some of these higher end houses, I'm doing a little more on the owner finance. And then if I have a lower end, 150, 200,000, maybe rent those.
Right.
I just want the nut to cover on those rentals to be around 1,000, 1,200 PITI, as opposed to like 1,800 to 2,000. I don't. It's not. I prefer
when you have a vacancy, it just absorbs less of your net cash flow from the other properties.
Say it one more time.
Well, when you have a vacancy on the rental, having that low PITI, you're able to. That debt service doesn't absorb as much of your net cash flow from the other properties.
Right. Yeah, it's just you have a lower cash flow for that month, but it's still positive as hell.
Right. Well, and it's a speed bump. It's not a pothole, right? You got to slow down a little bit, but you're not going to blow a tire.
Yeah, the thing that Sean and I go back and forth on is he's got a bunch of shit that's refined, man. Like his portfolio has been touring, because his started 10 years before I met him. And I met him 18 years ago. So, it's 20, 30 years old. and people are starting, and some of them are retreads and, that kind of thing, the business, but some of those things are refined now or paying off. And so he still likes the owner finance because the cash flow is greater and we don't have any maintenance and repairs, and the management is like almost nil. But on the flip side, what are you going to do when all of your properties pay off or refinance? You got all this cash sitting around,
now you got to go back to work.
Well, yeah, and then on the rentals, his argument is well, man, I'm the one signing the checks, and you don't see the checks that I sign for 100, 300, 250, blah. Every single freaking month there's those, we're getting nicked for those kind of repairs, and our return is better if we own or finance. So I go back and forth with them. So we've got, I don't know, probably 25, 30 rentals that we just hold as rentals, and then the rest of them we have as notes, and we're still adding rentals and notes to the portfolio. So we have probably, it's kind of been a little bit even, maybe a little bit more on the owner finance side, but I got them doing the rental thing because I'm 10 years younger than him. I'm your age pretty much. So I'm thinking, bro, like you're going to be 70 a lot faster than me. So I need some forever money, man, because I'm probably going to outlive you. So.
But the nice thing is if you just put an appreciation curve on top of it over a 20-year period, yeah, there'll be some down years. You could even have a recession, but the number at the end of the curve is always an average of 3.5% a year more.
Yeah, it's hard to be greater.
And that's the other thing I like about the income piece is the owner finances do cash flow better day one, but you don't get rent increases, right? I mean, you can increase by insurance and property taxes, but over 20 years, right? That's a constant stream of income. Whereas, I mean, everybody says, oh, rents can't keep going up, and it's like, I don't know. I mean, it's a percentage game, and if you go back and look at history, rents always keep going up. I mean, it's just a cost of living. It's a cost of goods. It's inflation. And that's the thing I like about the rentals too is it's hedged against inflation. And so as cost of living goes up, your rent can go up, your income can go up, whereas your owner finance, you're kind of locked in. And I don't think you can't do like adjustable rates anymore, right?
Oh yeah,
you can.
Mm-hmm. I don't do them just because they're not very marketable. So, like I just did a deal yesterday. The person has 20,000. The house I had it marketed at 209.9. They wanted it at 205.9. I said, yeah, no problem. Instead of 9%, it's 9.5%. And so I do stuff like that. But as far as adjustable rates, balloons, it's just they just feel like they're not getting a deal. Right. I just don't like I personally don't want to deal with somebody that can't make the payment. I got to go in and do a loan modification or some other nonsense. I'd rather just set them up for success. So I'm not doing a whole lot of that. Right. Actually, we haven't done adjustable rates since probably 2011, maybe 2012. We were doing some of that. We did some interest only stuff. We might have done some balloons at the very beginning before the 2014 Dodd-Frank stuff came into effect. Right. But now it's just straight up 9% is what we're doing.
That's kind of what the market says anyway, right? 9.5, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I see that Jawad Dashi. I've never met him personally. I see him all over the place with his philosophical posts, talking 10, 11%. But I mean, whether he's getting it or not, who knows? I don't know. On the rentals though, man, I do feel like there is a cap on like what a market will bear. I mean, the kind of the way that I do rentals is if they don't give me a lot of problems and my T and I don't really go berserk, man, I don't mess with them. I leave them just because I'd prefer just to have no maintenance, have people happy. I mean, the guy paid 10 months in advance. Well, when he moved in, he paid 12 months in advance. The deposit and 12 months in advance. Hell, I had my property manager go over there. I'm like, hey, why don't you go over there and look at the house since we have had no contact with him in 12 months? just make sure he's not cooking meth. You know, make sure he's not cooking meth or doing something crazy.
My truck back seat. I got a guy asking for Band-Aids.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Well, man, I'm gonna go take care of this. It was good chatting. I don't know where you went.